against Giratina.
Yeah, it lines up very well on the other side against Isiah Bradner as he takes a nice sip there. He's been playing this Lost Zone Giratina for a while now. Really fell in love with it around the time of the World Championships, and he certainly got the best of Jake Gearhart on the other side of that exhibition, and he likes to make it well known.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you just go 5-0,
That's sweet, man.
Yep.
That was something else.
He's trying to do just that here in day 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at the prize cards for both of our players. Ooh, that Thornton in the prizes for Aaron.
That's the fun one.
Meanwhile, a Colress's Experiment and a Sableye for Isiah. I believe that is the only Sableye in Isaiah's deck.
Yeah, that seems to be the typical inclusion now. A lot of players eyeing up double Cramorant and the single Sableye, but Isiah has had to make some cuts in order to add some of those fringe inclusions.
Not too bad, though, for the rest of the cards there. It's going to be interesting to see who's actually going first. It does look like Aaron is going to start things off here.
Yep,
Won't be able to get that good attack, but
these are two decks that really like to go second. We've seen both players, obviously, the Roaring Moons that we've seen on stream have had some very aggressive starts, potentially accelerating upwards of 3, 4, 5 energy onto the board and taking knockouts on that opening turn going second. So could have been Isiah winning the flip and then passing that over and trying to make the most of maybe early Cramorant or whatever it may be.
well, we're going to see a nest ball from Aaron here, eyeing down that Radiant Greninja brought to the top, but it's going to take a look, see what's prized, see what resources you have available to him.
Yeah, this is a deck where you could see a lot of different attackers. We see the Radiant Greninja, and so often you don't expect this Pokemon attacking this matchup, but there are water energies. There's 3 water energies that we'll have to pay attention to. And as we see Aaron grab a couple of those dark energies as well, obviously, you've got your main inclusion there, the Roaring Moon that likes to take big KOs.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it does. It chews Bubblegum and it takes KOs, and it's all out of Bubblegum.
Oh, unlucky.
Or I guess Jelly. Squawkabilly EX is going to be the next play for Aaron here. Such a great inclusion in a lot of these kind of turbo-ish style decks, just being able to discard your hand and draw 6 on the first turn of the game.
Yeah, especially when you start to fill that hand up with those dark energies, throw those away very quickly, and then you have an opportunity to accelerate those energies. As early as next turn with the Sawdust Vitality, you start to get aggressive pretty quick. Isiah only has a mana fee right now, so he's just going to try to download as much info as he can after seeing that opening discard and hope that he's got as good a turn as we see Aaron having.
Discarding both of the energy off the Earthen Vessel with the Squawk and Seize, but Aaron finds another one. Discards a second Squawkabilly EX to find a couple more energies. That's going to lead to this concealed cards and an attachment for the turn, most likely.
Yeah, and now we see the other inclusion there, that lightning energy. And this is going to be for the Iron Hands EX. Amp you very much. An attack that scares all Comfey owners, as we know that this is a great way to start to steal some additional prize cards.
Well, there is that lightning going to the discard. 4 concealed cards, 2 more cards for Aaron here. Drawn a lot of cards for this beginning turn, but will not have access to something like that Professor Sada's Vitality until the following turn. Looks like an Ultra Ball being eyed up. Ooh, that's 2 Sadas now in the discard.
Yeah, that's got to be some alarms going off in Isaiah's head as he sees all of these great resources being thrown away. It makes you wonder, okay, what is in your hand then? if that's a bad card, I'm afraid to see what's good.
Just a lot of energy switches, most likely.
And sure enough, that's the card that we see in the window of the hand. Galarian Moltres V is going to find an additional energy by way of the Dire Flame Wings. And we know that those energies can accelerate very quickly on this board state.
And Aaron also has that 4 Sealstone in hand, which is more likely going to be attached to that Galarian Moltres V, so you can get some use out of that Star Alchemy V-Star power. Being able to just grant your Pokemon V that powerful ability. Isiah has started the Manaphy, which can be good against a surprise Moonlight Shuriken from Aaron, but starting things off with a very powerful supporter in that Colress's Experiment.
Yep, this is the way that you want to start all of your turns, have that Colress Experiment, build the hand up, and then from here, obviously looking for some of those switching effects, Battle VIP Pass, whatever it may be. We've seen Pat to the Peak occasionally as a pretty important card in matchups like these, just trying to shut off some of those additional abilities that grant Aaron some additional energies, and maybe you could slow down maybe that Radiant Greninja as well on the other side.
Now, Aaron does have 4 counter stadiums in Pokestop, trying to just speed through the deck yet again. But wow, big item here for Isiah, that Battle VIP Pass. It's going to allow him to find some Comfey, but more importantly, search the deck and figure out what's prized.
Yeah, and this is the first deck search for Isiah, so certainly need to take that time. Understand what you are working with here. Spiritomb could be an inclusion that you think about early in a matchup like this. This is something that I faced playing up against some of the turbo decks of NAIC. You see that that Moltres on the other side. You know what? Actually, I don't like when you just get energies every turn.
Yeah, it's almost a free bench, too. You don't really need a full bench in a matchup like this. And having access to kind of just slow your opponent down with that Dire Flame Wings is always beneficial.
And from there, clearly, also, you have to think about the Comfey starting to burn through the deck, get more cards into the Lost Zone. Just that classic strategy of trying to reach at least 4 in the Lost Zone to do something impactful, but you start to worry. There hasn't been much else played from the hand, but we still are only on the first 2 cards of the game.
It does look like Isiah has a Jet Energy in hand, so that could be useful to bring up a Comfey and to get that Manaphy out of the active spot. And is there another Battle VIP Pass in hand?
I saw red coloring.
I saw red. It's either that or what?
Don't
Ultra
tempt
Ball.
me. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, there's the second one here, and this hand is looking pretty good here for Isiah.
Yeah, obviously, there's some decisions that you need to make here where you look at the Comfeys and the Giratina V. You want to establish that Giratina V, so obviously you can evolve it into the V-Star, start to apply some pressure to these higher hit point Pokemon, and maybe remove them by way of Lost Impact. But there's also a bit of a game here where you have to start to consider, do you want to get that Spiritomb established, start to shut down your opponent, or do you want to work in a Cramorant and try to damage these Pokemon, maybe avoid some of that frenzied gouging, which could be an issue later on.
And there we see that Spiritomb with its Fettered in Misfortune ability. This will shut off that Galarian Moltres V for as long as it's in play. Now, it's really the only target that you're going to be shutting off, but it's going to put in a lot of work here in this matchup, hopefully, for Isiah. Does find that second Comfey as well, so I think we're going to see a Jet Energy and a couple Flower Selectings to try to build up that Lost Zone in preparation for a turn 2 Mirage Gate.
I mean, if you're going to play 3 cards, I think the answer is Battle VIP, Colress Experiment. And not the ideal starter in the active, but that's what they invented switches and Jet Energies for.
That's why they did it?
And because they're fun.
Oh, yeah. Flower Selecting gets rid of the water. Don't need that with the Radiant Greninja in the Lost Zone. And then we're going to see retreat to the second Comfey here.
The blatant disrespect towards Rain Splash, you know?
I know.
How dare you, Jeremy? 4 cards in the Lost Zone now after this Flower Selecting. I believe there was a switch in the hand. We've already seen the energy attachment, so no Abyss Seeking into big knockouts on the other side. And the question now is there a way to find a Cramorant? It does not look like that's going to be the case. Pass of the turn.
Still not bad, though. 4 in the Lost Zone, but only 1 Giratina V on the bench. So if Aaron does find the 1 copy of Boss's Orders in his deck, could be able to maybe pull off a big attack, but needs a lot of energy to do that. So we're going to start with Asada here. That's the 3rd one. Only attaching 1 energy, though.
We see only that 1 ancient Pokemon in play. Pokestop is found. So we could see Aaron continue to burn through the deck. We've seen resources flying left and right on his side of the board, but rightfully so. This is just how you have to play this deck to start to find some helpful cards. Ultra Ball, maybe that will start to open this up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Ultra Ball, you can discard that Battle VIP Pass you also found with it, so really it's almost free, you know?
I mean, we lost Iron
Oh,
Hands
double Battle VIP Pass. Who cares about losing Iron Hands when we got Thornton in the deck?
in the
in the
prize
prizes.
cards. Yeah. Well, I think that's a card that Aaron certainly looks for in the opening deck search. But there are some other inclusions. We see that Mew potentially being eyed up, and I think Isiah thinks about that rightfully so. As you know what, I don't want to be tempted with this Radiant Greninja, and I don't want my opponent to pull this active and genome hack it at all.
Yeah, Mew EX is one of those cards where ever since it came out, people were like, oh, Giratina's done for. Lost impact with genome hacking. Can't beat that, right?
Right.
All right.
And this certainly is a matchup where you can be intimidated by this. You can be surprised by the Mew by way of Thornton. You can start to attach additional energies to it now where it's not currently a threat. But anytime that you see that Giratina V-Star, you know that the Mew could easily knock it out the very next turn.
Yeah, usually we only see intimidation in the VGC.
Boo. who has it? Like the Gyarados or the
Incineroar.
There you go, yeah.
Hisuian Arcanine. There's the energy switch to get that dark energy off that Galarian Moltres V. Still one energy away from being able to attack this turn, but there is that Pal Pad, putting back that one Boss's Orders that was in the discard already, along with Asada's.
It's nice to know where those resources are, and thankfully playing some helpful item cards like that in an engine that throws away resources left and right, those Pokestops. It makes you think about the Kyogre builds of old, just burning all these resources and trying to get to this specific endgame strategy. This one, it builds along the way.
Well, Aaron's still trying to build a little bit further, restart a couple cards off the top. No energy here. Supporter already used for the turn. We're going to have to force Seal Stone to just even attack, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, what was a great hand to start, and we saw all of the building that with additional resources, the Pokestop and everything. It's definitely slowed down a bit.
Now, you can't get two energy.
Yeah, that's what, Earthen Vessel coming?
Yeah.
That's what I was like pointing. I was
It's
like,
like
yeah, I knew it was gonna
that's a shortcut.
A little too short.
All right, thank you.
All right, Earthen Vessel found off that Star Alchemy. Discards Ultra Ball to get two Dark Energy. This will open up concealed cards as well as that attack for the turn. And important to note, Aaron's going to take a knockout on this Manaphy, which will open up a Moonlight Shuriken play for maybe the future, but we'll have to see. And, ooh, Boss's Orders found off the top.
I like this from Aaron,
Already
fanning out
played.
those different basic energies to keep track and identify that maybe you can pull those out at the right time and maybe work in one of those interesting attackers that we know of.
Really debating hard here, but we do see that third energy on Roaring Moon. But just a retreat to Radiant Greninja here. And Aaron's going to take it slow.
Very passive. But you can understand where this play is coming from. If this Pokemon were to be knocked out, if you lose the Roaring Moon in this spot, it does not look like you're going to have another attacker ready to roll. And that is the power of the Spiritomb, shutting off the energy acceleration by way of the discard to the Galarian Moltres, which usually starts to share those energies with the energy switches.
Well, Isiah has, again, another Colossus experiment to start things off. It's going to mean 6 in the Lost Zone and a couple more resources to the hand. Does get rid of a Roxanne, though.
My favorite flex.
There is 2 in the list.
Yep. You could throw one away, say there is no late game, and that Jet Energy means that 7 cards will be in the Lost Zone. Question is now, which Pokemon do you want to incorporate into the mix? You have that open bench slot, so maybe a Pokemon like Cramorant could get some chip damage onto the Radiant Greninja. But a card like Escape Rope would be very nice in a spot like this. I feel like that was one of those cuts that he continued to make, and sure enough, it is.
Yeah, just 3 switch in the deck.
3 switch, 2 switch card.
And now the Cramorant play could be pretty good here if you had access to that Sableye, but it's in the prize cards towards the top, too. So having that 110 damage just stay on that Radiant Greninja might be a little troublesome.
Brain Splash.
I guess you're right. I guess you're right.
Lining it up. You can fade out twice. You got to see all the lines. That's the beauty of Giratina.
Spinning attack.
There you go. It's going to be the double Giratina V setup. Seems like a pretty solid strategy at this point in time. Now it is the battle of the boss's orders, it would look like. If you could see 3 Giratina V-Stars up against whatever V or EX Pokemon is on the other side.
There is a retreat to another Comfey flower selecting yet again. Plenty in the lost zone for Isiah here. Does get rid of a Super Rod, finds that second Roxanne, so had to keep that card. Is there access to any switch or Mirage Gates? Ooh.
Wow. That's risky.
Well, we found a Mirage Gate. Did lose 2 energy, and with 3 in hand, Isiah has to be running pretty low. We do see that V-Star being evolved. Path to the peak. Not bad here. Just a pass. Both of these players taking this matchup very slow, trying to force the other to make the first move.
Yeah, I mean, it's an intimidating process. You understand that the counter action is right there waiting for you. Instant knockouts on both sides of the board, and you're trying to map out those prize cards. The one benefit that Isiah currently has going into this is he can just continue to build his hand. And if you hold on to cards like Boss's Orders, you can take those risks like the Pokestop, throw away, maybe find some of those item cards which will help you close out and take those big KOs. You're not really worried about any shuffling on the other side from Aaron.
I think there is a Pokegear in hand to go along with that Pokestop. And Aaron's going to be trying to find another Professor Sada's Vitality, maybe. Maybe even just use the Boss's Orders in hand. But needs a way to get out of the active spot.
Ripping it. Needs a little bit of help here. Energy switch.
Ooh, loses that Sada, though.
I mean, the combination here is retreat along with Boss's Orders. But it's not all there. There's not even an energy switch up and then have a good attacker.
Can we thin the hand down enough to maybe restart for a couple cards?
I think that is the line that Aaron has to consider here. I believe there's Ultra Ball in the hand along with a VIP pass as some fodder.
With that, do you commit to the Boss's Orders?
That's the real question here. You have to understand your energy counts in this position. Energy switch is going to be thrown away. You can fail the Pokegear if you choose.
Yeah, and there's 4 energy in the discard, 3 in play, just 4 left in the deck. Granted, you do have some Earthen Vessel you can kind of draw into.
You can play into the switch card or escape rope. So we'll see if these cards even matter to Aaron. Says, oh, cool, my switch card is in the deck. That's all I care about. Let's shuffle up. I've got a few opportunities. The real question now, do you Boss's Orders first? Because there is the interesting escape rope draw, which would hurt so bad here.
Well, there's a Boss's Orders on the Giratina V, trying to avoid the V-Star knockout for now, and a big 3 cards off this Mew EX's restart.
Energy would do it. Switch cart would be great. Escape rope would hurt.
Earthen Vessel, that's going to do it for Aaron to be able to accomplish a big knockout this turn. Does have to discard a Dark Patch, though. But the other card in hand, another Dark Patch.
Okay. And looks like the last 2 energies in the deck being found. Look how thin the deck is at this point. Aaron has not taken a prize card. He has burned through all these cards in upwards of 3 turns.
Maybe we see a Kyogre from Aaron.
Hold up.
Someone's cooking.
Yeah.
Dark Patch on that Roaring Moon EX. That had no energies. Do we see the... Yeah, we can't even see the concealed cards because you don't want to discard the energy. There is the retreat. And we're going to see a Calamity Storm taking a big knockout, discarding that Pokestop. And Aaron's going to be able to find another energy from the prize cards. But other than that, not really working with much in hand.
Yeah, drawing first blood there, taking that big knockout. Obviously, Isiah will have the answer with that Giratina V-Star, but it's very important that he's able to also bench another Giratina V this turn. hold on to that Roxanne for the following turn and start to disrupt what Aaron is going to be working with, as Aaron has one mission next turn to accelerate as many energies as possible onto this board and maybe set up another Roaring Moon and get some energies onto that Mew, perhaps.
Well, this Nest Ball is going to help out Isiah finding that second Giratina V, like you were saying. We do know there's the Mirage Gate in hand already, but with quite a few energy in hand. Does look like Isiah has enough resources, though. Oh, they're all psychic energy.
That is ugly.
Think we might settle for a Star Requiem.
Well, it goes back to looking at that Pokestop that we saw earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Lost the grass energy, but found the Mirage Gate, so win some, lose some.
So far, both of these players have been winning a lot of some.
At least 10.
At least 10. Both these players have a loss to give as well, at least with our calculations. 36 match points should be the safe spot for top 8. Both of these players sitting at 33.
Yeah, you can tell every resource is just so important from this point. Trying to map out what is the potential that Aaron can set up really relevant Pokemon on this following turn. Get those energies down onto the Mew or the Roaring Moon on the other side. And losing the Path to the Peak here is pretty bad, too.
Looks like it was another Mirage Gate, though, was the card found. Grabs just another Psychic Energy.
Yeah, you want to have a Path to the Peak when you use the Roxanne. It would also be nice to just play an additional one this turn so that you could shut down maybe some additional cards found from Restart or the Radiant Greninja draw, whatever it may be. You just try to shut off all these abilities.
We do see the switch. Giratina V-Star now in the active spot. Grass Energy for the turn for Isiah. And now he has the knockout with Lost Impact, but there wasn't 10 in the Lost Zone, so unable to get that Star Requiem kind of save those energies. And 2 Psychic Energies going to Lost Zone.
Yeah, you have to worry about what Isiah will be able to accomplish on the following turn. We already see a Giratina V-Star in the Lost Zone, the 2 Psychic Energy there. Finding the Mirage Gates was so difficult the first time, and if you do, it's just the last Psychic Energy. I mean, there's chances you draw into it, then you have to awkwardly use the Roxanne first. We'll see how this works, but first Aaron needs to find an attacker this turn.
Yeah, the hand wasn't too good following the knockout. Does have that concealed cards for 2, and wow,
Ooh.
Professor Sada's Vitality found yet again here. Just attaches the 1, though, still missing the second Roaring Moon.
And it's so cute. You find the lightning energy and throw that on just in case you can work in some Thornton shenanigans to close out. Thinking of everything here.
Energy from the hand for turn. That means Aaron has this knockout yet again, but this time with Frenzied Gouging.
Frenzy gouging for knockout.
This is going to deal 200 damage to
But
himself.
look! After this, you have nothing, no energies in play. All of your resources, look at the discard pile. That's 10 energies of the 11 that will be there after this knockout. And it could be as simple as a Cramorant in this spot. And you know that Roxanne is waiting on the other side, most likely too.
And Isiah still has not played Cramorant this game yet. Has access to Nest Ball in hand. That could be a great way to fetch it out. Did draw the Psychic for the
Yeah,
turn.
I was like,
Yeah.
I see the 2 Psychic energy in hand. I'm like, he's not very lucky, is he? I guess the one benefit of that is that when you use the Roxanne, just throw it all back in. Who cares? And you can draw into the Mirage Gate for later.
Yeah, still 2 Mirage Gate in the deck as we took a quick look through there. And as long as Isiah has a switch out, this is going to be a pretty easy KO here, going down to 2 prize cards. If there's a Path to the Peak left, this could be a pretty crazy turn for Isiah.
Yeah, this is exactly what Isiah's been working towards this whole game. You understand that this position will come about. The issue is Aaron wasn't able to set up another attacker. And that makes Isiah feel so much more comfortable in a situation like this. You can switch into that Cramorant, you have that Roxanne ready to roll. And you know what? We're done here. Let's
Yep.
move on to game 2.
Just no way to set up an additional attacker for Aaron there. Already used the boss's orders, the pal pad. No real way to work around that Cramorant, and Giratina is just looming in the back with that Star Requiem.
Yeah, it's so wild how these matchups can turn on their head just based off those opening draws. And it looked like Aaron had the potential. The aggression that we saw, throwing cards left and right, typically that leads to a lot of energy acceleration. But this was the only period where we really saw multiple Roaring Moon on the table at the same time. And this led to no additional acceleration from the Sadas. It was always one dark energy at a time or whatever it may be. And slowly but surely, that starts to weigh on you. And it led to situations where Aaron finally gets this big attack off, yes, but he has no energy to follow up, which means that you just have to scoop things up and try to get it done in the next one.
Yeah, Spiritomb putting in a ton of work in that game 1, shutting off that Dire Flame Wings from Galarian Moltres V, really just canceling out an attacker for that entire game.
And certainly there is a lot of potential on the other side for this to go differently. Aaron has the potential to have the big pop-off turn, throw down plenty of energies, maybe work in the Iron Hands at an early stage of the game, and the pressure could be all on Isiah to find the right answers. But when you have double Battle VIP Pass, Colress Experiment, all the Giratina lined up ready to go, it looks pretty fun to be a Giratina player.
Double Pokestop in the prize cards for Aaron. That could be detrimental if a Path to the Peak sticks in play for Isiah. Meanwhile, Jet Energy, Colress Experiment, Mirage Gate, nothing too bad for Isiah in those prize cards. And Aaron choosing to go first here in this match, but starts that Battle VIP Pass, able to find a couple Pokemon.
Yeah, that's a little surprising, but maybe this leads to faster Iron Hands. Maybe the consistency of just being able to play out more cards works. That's
3 Battle VIP Pass.
Yeah. Who are you taking to the concert?
Taking a couple friends at least.
Maybe your boys. Say ballin'?
yeah, we're available.
The squad being established.
Well, we were talking about missing extra Roaring Moon for those Sadas. I don't think that's going to be a problem here. And fetches the Iron Hands. We're going to see the last Battle VIP Pass here, most likely. Or just a Nest Ball.
To fail.
Now, do you grab the Mew for restart or just another Roaring Moon? I think it's a Roaring Moon here.
Yeah, I'm a little more interested in the Roaring Moon. I feel like we've seen that be more of an issue than trying to draw 1 or 2 cards.
Well, it looks like Aaron's trying to debate between those 2 Pokemon here.
Yeah, I almost start to question the Galarian Moltres pool. As obviously, yes, it forces your opponent to find the Spiritomb, but it's basically a useless card after that is established. But maybe that's the difference between Isiah finding 2 Giratina, and that could be a boss's orders big KO later on.
Yeah, we saw that actually in game 1. There was one specific turn where if Aaron had that boss's orders, he could get a KO. Just unfortunately had to dig through a lot of the deck turn 1 here. Does start with the concealed cards before the Squawk and Seas. Definitely interesting on how the proper sequencing for this deck is. A lot of different options.
Yep. See water energy in hand, also the energy switch that can be played first. If you don't want to play the water per turn, you could use the Ultra Ball and then thin out, throw away a useless Pokemon or something you're not looking forward to, and then use Squawk and Seize. But we're always seeing that Sada thrown away. Poor Sada.
Yeah, I always run into, when I was playing Miraidon, just Path to the Peak in hand and Squawk ability. And I have to Squawk and Seize this Path to the Peak away, but I'm playing against a deck that Path to the Peak is very good against.
Yeah,
and
well, you have to sequence it appropriately. Throw the Path to the Peak in the air, Squawk and Seize, and then it lands on the table.
You're right.
To shut off the abilities.
And that's why you're better than me, Kyle.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Isiah starting things off with a Colress Experiment yet again. It must be nice. I guess this is how you end up 10-0-3.
Yep, sign me up. Undefeated currently at this spot, up a game against one of the scariest players currently in the tournament in Aaron Santos and this very interesting Roaring Moon deck. And take a look at the discard pile and see all of these resources that found Pokemon, but no energies in the discard pile.
An awkward 5 cards for Isiah here. Switch, Energy, Cramorant, and believe a Mirage Gate.
I don't feel bad for him. He's absolutely cooking on the other side. We see the Battle VIP Pass once more in hand. Looks like the Radiant Greninja's there too. Last time, chose to throw that Pokemon into the Lost Zone. Maybe there are considerations this time to continue to accelerate and draw more.
And you may be wondering why Isiah isn't slamming down that Battle VIP Pass right away, but that's because with a deck like this, you want to try to find as many basic Pokemon as possible in the beginning stages. So if you thin out some of the basic Pokemon, you're just worsening your odds.
Yep. Any time that you draw into another Comfey, maybe even that Spiritomb, whatever it may be, that's just one less card that you have to find off the Battle VIP Pass. You can add those additional Pokemon to your bench, and then you can build that perfect 5 that you're looking for. Aaron was able to do so with their board pretty easily, but I guess that's just how things work when you have triple VIP.
Isaiah's first deck search here is going to take a quick look, see what's prized, what resources you have available. That Sableye is in the deck now. Spiritomb is also there. And Isiah does have access to a Jet Energy in hand.
Okay, I was going to say, there's one very important Pokemon we haven't seen just yet.
The Manaphy.
We need Manaphy this time around. Look at Aaron's board. You see that Radiant Greninja juiced up. And that would be very bad to lose that Pokemon, especially when you want to consider playing down a Spiritomb in a spot like this. There's just a lot of low hit point Pokemon that could be easily knocked out and turn the tide of this game.
Giratina V is one of the cards here, but do we see that very important Manaphy? If we see Manaphy, that means no second Comfey, which means no Spit Innocently.
Do you Jet Abyss Seeking?
So rough. I guess that leaves just one knockout in play for Moonlight Shuriken and double Giratina V. Maybe we are going to see it.
I like this a lot. This is a strategy where you see your opponent go for the Moonlight Shuriken. It's like, okay, cool. I will give you no additional 90 hit point or less Pokemon to attack into. You can leave some useless damage on the board. And this tends to work out pretty well. And yes, a lot of Giratina players are made fun of for Abyss Seeking over and over again until they eventually lose. But sometimes it is optimal.
Well, there is that Jet Energy Giratina V brought to the active spot. Isiah has played a few cards this turn, but just opts for that Abyss Seeking. Going to go up to 5 in the Lost Zone.
Build your own Colress.
That means a pretty likely 7 in the Lost Zone next turn with just another Colress's Experiment.
Giratina V-Star. 1 in the hand, 1 in the Abyss Seeking. That means it's going to be tossed away, and that is 3 switching effects in the Lost Zone on the opening turn. Ruh-roh.
Oh, that's just the pass of the turn for Aaron here.
Well.
That is
dude, energies are so important. Last time he had 9 in the discard pile in turn 3 to 4. And here he has 0, which leads to the clunkiness we've talked about throughout this tournament. You need to draw all these cards in the right order. It's just not happening. And there's switching effect number 4 right now for Isiah.
And there goes
another
Jet Energy into the Lost Zone. There's another Comfey in hand, along with that Cramorant. Do you just play the Cramorant at this point and just start attacking?
You just rip the Colress and
that would work
start
too.
going to town. Ooh.
A lot of energies in
that
those 7
been
cards.
A great Mirage Gate.
Well, I don't know if Mirage Gate would be as good if you had to look at the top 7 and take energies from there.
Yeah, maybe that's how we balance it.
Maybe. So no Colress's Experiment just yet for Isiah. Might have to do a little more digging. Maybe get another Comfey in play just so you can Flower Selecting. But again, that means 2 Pokemon that could be easily knocked out. And there's the last switch from Isiah. No more getting out of the active spot unless it's a Jet Energy.
And I think that was Cramor. No, Cramorant's already in the hand.
Yeah, Cramorant's in hand. Manaphy?
Manaphy? Yeah. Blue guy?
I mean, there's 3 blue Pokemon in the list, and one's in play, one's in hand. Yeah, there we go. Manaphy pretty big pickup if Aaron's able to find something like an Earthen Vessel next turn.
Yeah, that is the one card that Aaron is truly missing at this point. It would activate everything from here on out.
Well, here we see that Mirage Gate. Going to be able to charge up this Giratina V, but Isiah still needs a way to retreat. I think we might see a second Mirage Gate just so you can retreat the Comfey. Grass Energy on Giratina V, or not. Psychic Energy and a Water on the active.
Yep. Likely meaning Grass Energy in hand for the attachment for the turn. Thinking of every energy, as obviously this was an issue in game number 1 with all the Psychic Energies remaining.
We do see the second Mirage Gate. Couple energy on the bench. Giratina V, spread out the extra resources you have available to you. Hopefully you get a couple attacks off if Aaron does have something. I mean, there's a possibility Aaron just brings up Greninja and retreats just to get an energy in the discard so you can Sada.
Yeah, and those are all things that Isiah is considering, and I think you still feel comfortable in a spot like this. It's pretty likely that your Giratina will stick around at this point, but even if it doesn't, you have the secondary one to follow.
This is a strong board presence from Isiah here. 2 Giratina V-Stars essentially powered up.
Manaphy along with it.
Yeah. 2 energy to the Lost Zone, but that's going to power up Lost Impact for the following turn, just needing 1 more by way of course or Flower Selecting.
Yeah, this is a very crucial turn for Aaron. If the pieces align, obviously the retreat opens up some of the draws. But if you can take the knockout this turn, there's a window. Isiah only has a 3/3 line of Giratina V-Star. We see the V-Star in the Lost Zone already. If you knock out this Pokemon, there's a world where you run out and there is no closing final 2 prize cards for Isiah unless you start attacking with Cramorant, sadly, into nothing.
Aaron needs Earthen Vessel off those 3 cards, but I don't know if he found it just yet. Oh, there is an energy. 2 more cards yet again.
Maybe Forest Sealstone, anything at this point just to help out.
No, there's been a couple of Pokegears, which aren't very good after you already played your supporter for the turn.
We already have that piece.
Dark Patch in hand, but that Roaring Moon is in the active spot here. Nest Ball is going to be able to search the deck. Just a fail, though. We have access to Dire Flame Wings, no Spiritomb in play, Dark Patch. But again, the complete opposite of game 1, where Aaron was just flooded with energies in the first few turns. This is definitely not that game.
Yep.
I think we're just going to see a pass.
It's so unfortunate. Yeah, you pass with this Pokemon in the active. Now there is the benefit that you know your opponent is struggling with the switching effects. You've already seen all 5 switch cards played. But we see Mirage Gate was the draw.
Must be nice. Must be nice. There is still quite a few resources available to Isiah, especially with this Super Rod here. I'm going to shuffle back in a Psychic and a Water Energy. And with this Mirage Gate, you can power up this Giratina V-Star yet again, take a knockout, and then just have that Star Requiem sitting and waiting.
Yep, starts to look a little like a checkmate situation. The main attacks that are going to produce those additional prize cards would be a V or EX Pokemon attacking, be 2 prize cards remaining. You already see that the V-Star will be available in this situation. And you could even use the Jet Energy on the bench Pokemon, bring that active, and just Lost Impact, throw away the Jet and the Water, and then both these Pokemon are ready to take the final knockout. However you want to do it, this will do the exact same thing.
And there is that Lost Impact, and the writing is on the wall for Aaron here. No way to knock out both of these Giratina V-Star in this turn. And honestly, no way for Aaron to really get an attack off right now.
Yeah, we need a knockout for Pride at this point. It has not been the cleanest game, unfortunately, but that's just the way that the cards fall with this deck sometimes. When everything lines up and you get the perfect assortment, the Earthen Vessels, the Sadas, into all of the additional resources, this deck looks incredible. It can knock out any Pokemon on any given turn, but when you don't have one piece, that's all it takes to watch it crumble.
It was a few turns too late, but Aaron finally found that Earthen Vessel, being able to discard Squawkabilly EX, get a couple of energy to the hand.
Staring down 2 Tina V-Stars, bro. Let me just get a little action going. It'll be all over soon.
Looks like Aaron has come to the same conclusion here. So just gotta make something happen, right?
Yeah, show off for the stream a little bit, you know?
Okay, well, the floor is yours, Aaron.
Roaring Moon, EX to the bench. Couple of Dark Patch in hand. Dire Flame Wings available, concealed cards available. Aaron going through the motions.
Oh, multiple Dark Patch ready to roll.
For how locked up Isiah has this game, he looks very worried for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know what he's considering at this point. But let him do his thing.
Maybe what concession snack to get.
Yeah, okay.
Dark Patch number 1. Potentially 2. I think it was 2.
Speaking of the concessions, I heard the cinnamon rolls are going crazy.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Okay.
We're going to have to check out some, you know?
All right, well, let it be known. There will be cinnamon rolls.
Pokestop for the stadium for Aaron here. For Sealstone, and it's just continuing this turn. Triple draw from the Pokestop here.
I mean, that is exactly what you'd want. 3 turns ago. All of the resources finally lining up. You have this Mew ready to move out of the active spot. Frenzied Gouging ready for a knockout. The only issue is Isiah doesn't have to take 12 prize cards to win a game. Only 6.
That would be rough.
He's down for the challenge. Who knows?
What is it? Dialga Palkia Legend or something
Oh yeah,
like that?
we've seen some nightmare situations. The graphics would not be prepared.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine if we had something like that nowadays?
That's why we're not on the design team.
For those of you at home, it was a Pokemon that just added a couple more prize cards to your opponent. You can do that attack multiple times. Like, what, 16 prize cards at one point?
Yeah, Circuitry was enough for me. I'm okay. I'm okay with this. Just 6 prize cards. That's what Aaron has on his side of the board. In a game state that is upwards. It's basically unwinnable from here. But obviously, you're playing for pride at this point. Your deck has been fantastic, winning 11 matches so far. You know what it's capable of. Got to at least get yourself a little bit of content showing some knockouts.
Hey, more time taken off means less time we have to just talk.
Cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, more time for cinnamon rolls. Earthen Vessel's gonna thin the deck yet again. Maybe he's going for the deck out.
You know, that'd also be a fun way to close out the game here, too.
Energy for the turn on that Radiant Greninja. Do we see the Moonlight Shuriken for the 0 damage, 0 damage?
Oh, this is how you close out, Aaron.
Oh,
Thinking
yeah.
of everything here.
This is the line.
Here you go. Where's he going to target?
Oh, Giratina.
Oh.
Boss's orders in hand for Isiah. Brings up any of the 2 prize Pokemon on the bench. And just like that, Isiah Bradner, 11-0-3, locking up top 8 here in Charlotte.
Undefeated to this point and showing off the power of Giratina V-Star once more. You know this means so much to him, too. He's been watching his friends have a lot of success along the way. Obviously, Xander Perot and John Ang having some tremendous seasons. Xander has the 9-0 here this weekend. John Ang winning in Portland, and he's been waiting for his turn. It was his turn for like 3 years, though.
Yeah.
So I guess it's time that he came back into the light.
Let's go ahead and take a look back at this match that we had. Game 1, pretty slow start for both of these players, trying to force the other to make the first move, and Aaron did just that, taking the knockout on that Giratina V, but Isiah responds right back with a lost impact, forcing Aaron to find another attacker. He does, though, with this Roaring Moon EX, but no other attacker other than that. Frenzied Gouging is going to be able to take the knockout, but Isiah responds right back with Cramorant Spit instantly, and that forces the concession from Aaron.
Yep, you can see it on Aaron's face the whole way through, just smiling through the pain as he understands that this is not exactly how my deck wants to operate, and the cards are not falling in place, and this led to a disastrous situation here. A complete pass of the turn with the Roaring Moon active, instant knockout there because of the Mirage Gate, and sure enough, another one was ready to go. Quick 4 prize cards for Isiah, and from there it's virtually checkmate. Aaron had a fun turn to establish a Moonlight Shuriken and get some damage on the board. Really make Isiah sweat here on this last turn where he clicks boss.
Yeah. And just like that, we have one of our first few players locked in for top 8. Again, Aaron's still not out of it yet, sitting at 11-3. Just a win in the next round could be a win and in for this Roaring Moon deck that is pretty teched out.
Yeah, and of course that means that we'll be approaching our round 15 pretty soon. That community choice will be coming up, so you don't want to go anywhere, because obviously we want to see the best matchup to potentially find another player to add to the top 8 along with Isiah Bradner. There's a lot of interesting decks out there, a lot of players really dying to find that last spot, maybe add that addition to all of the work that they've had throughout their history of the Pokemon TCG. I'm excited to hear a little more about Ross Cawthon, who was at 35 points. Maybe we have another player that has been able to lock up that top 8 contention. But, I mean, if those are our first 2 players in the top 8, I mean, we're in for a good show.
I mean, it's already been pretty great just watching how this format in particular has progressed. Just the variety of decks you have, the kind of polarizing matchups you have, too. You really don't know what's going to happen, or you think you know what's going to happen on paper, then all of a sudden the Gardevoir just does not draw, and Ross is able to win pretty decisively 2-0. Things can happen in Pokemon that you will not expect, and there's one thing we can expect, and that's to see Isiah Bradner in top 8.
Yeah, he's certainly found his way back again. Obviously, we've talked about the storyline. This is a similar storyline for a lot of players. It's get to that age, you got to focus on school and big boy world and do all those things, and he still has managed to give us some additional time and to chase that passion that he loves so desperately. We've seen him playing this game for so many years, and I mean, he's a top caliber talent every time that we watch him play.
Well, we're not going to wait any longer. Let's go ahead and take it down the lounge and hear from Isiah Bradner himself.
Thank you, casters. Juancho Saldana here, and I'm here with someone who is over the moon, because he just beat up a Roaring Moon. I'm here with Isiah Bradner, someone guaranteed into the top 8.
Yes, sir.
How are you feeling?
I feel amazing. I'm a little bit emotional, to be honest. I mean, I play a lot of Pokemon. It's been a long time since I get a top 8, or have got a top 8. Obviously, I'm lucky to be someone who's been in this spot a lot of times before, but it's been almost a year since I've been able to play a top 8 match of regional championships. And so I'm extremely excited, blessed to be here. But yeah, couldn't be happier, but job's not done. You know, I got 3 more to win, so I am so ecstatic to be in this spot that I am, but got to focus overall on winning the event now.
No, for sure. The way you've been playing, though, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to be with a finals interview as well. You know what I'm saying?
I hope so.
No, but yeah, again, you've been playing the Giratina deck absolutely masterfully. I mean, just watching that last round, I feel like you've been able to set yourself up into these checkmate scenarios more often than not. So let me walk me through that. Why the Giratina pick?
So I absolutely love Giratina. I mean, the deck is amazing. And the reason that I love it so much is that Giratina, more than any other deck in format, gives you a chance to win games whenever you start poorly. And that's why I think it's so good, because almost any deck wins whenever it draws well, right? Like Roaring Moon, they get a turn 1 Roaring Moon off. You know, if I have a slow start, they're probably going to win. Like Charizard, turn 2 double candy, like they're probably going to win. When Giratina draws well, it definitely wins. Like game 1, I hit double VIP pass, it was over from there, right? But even whenever I draw kind of poorly, like I did in game 2, like granted he drew worse, but there were a lot of games today and yesterday as well, where I go like draw, pass, and then I'm able to come back because I have Colress and do Abyss Seeking, and my deck is just so good at working with the limited amount of resources, which other decks aren't able to do. And so whenever I realized that, I really fell in love with the deck. I've been grinding it. I think it has good matchups against everything, and I'm here, and that's why Giratina.
No, I have to agree. Not gonna lie, Isiah, you actually made a Giratina believer in me. One of my caster picks was Giratina V-Star, and you know, you put it right. You know, sometimes I do feel, yeah, Giratina sometimes can brick. You do Abyss Seeking a couple of times, but it's not over until it's over. Roxanne Path is just so powerful. And actually, you know what? I just want to talk about it real quick. I've been dying to interview you the past 2 days. We've actually, for the folks at home, we actually set up a skit that we never did get to do.
Never got to do it.
Maybe someday. But Isiah actually played a big exhibition match, best of 9 against Jake Gearhart, Giratina against Gardevoir. And after that match, actually, is when I realized, wow, okay, Giratina really is something. So after that exhibition match, do you think that helped you really prepare for this tournament?
I mean, I don't think I learned anything new, particularly from playing against Jake. I think that I've been playing Giratina about as well as I can for a few months now, starting... I learned some stuff whenever I played it at Pittsburgh, but from San Antonio onwards, I think the last 3 events, I've really been playing Giratina almost perfectly. And so, yeah, I mean, I learned a little bit. I learned a little bit of the perspective, but to be perfectly honest, I think I was pretty prepared before that match. But always good to play more Giratina. I love playing Pokemon. For sure.
All right, so it sounds like, yeah, you've been playing Giratina absolutely perfectly. It shows right now, you know, making it to top 8. Do you have any tips, though, for any Giratina aspiring player?
I mean, that's like asking me.
We're not ready for coaching.
Well, no. I'm just saying there's so much I could say. I mean, I don't even know where to start. That's like asking me to tell my life story. But I think that some tips for playing Giratina well are, you know, you really have to focus on how you're gonna win each game, because there's almost always a way to win. Like, I mean, it sounds stupid to say like focus on winning, right? But I think that really the thing is just stay calm, you know, keep your composure, and then even when things go wrong, you know, if you know what's in your deck, if you know what's in your hand, then odds are there's going to be a way for you to win. But the biggest thing is really just practice. It's practice, watch good players who have played Giratina on video, learn how to play it from them, and then, you know, maybe you too can play Giratina V-Star one day.
I'm definitely going to give it a shot. We're going to watch this one on Rewind for sure. All right, with that, you know what, you're into top 8. Tell me about your mindset. How are you preparing yourself for this?
I mean, I'm going to look at my opponent's decks. I'm going to try to find out what I can hit in top 8. If there's anything that I can do to try to avoid a bad matchup, then I'll definitely do that. But other than that, I mean, I'll just try to get some food in me. I'll try to be relaxed, and then hopefully I'll have, you know, good composure going into top 8. And hopefully, I always say hopefully I'll draw well enough to win. I don't need to draw well. I just need to draw well enough where my skill can get me there. So that's the goal.
All right, just well enough. Just give you that chance for
Yes,
sure.
sir.
And if anything can give you a chance, it's that Giratina. With that, any last words? Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
Yeah, definitely. I want to give a big shout out to my girlfriend, June. She actually told me she had a good feeling about this tournament whenever I left on Friday. She said I didn't have a good feeling about the others, but I had a good feeling about this one. And then, of course, the biggest shout outs go to my boys. John Ang just won a regionals with Giratina. I'm going to try to win this one for him. Ooh. Justin Bakari, someone as well who's been, you know, following me along. He's at this tournament, so maybe I can win one that he's at. And then, you know, all the rest of the boys, too many to list. I'll list them after I win later. But, you know, my family at home, mom, dad, love you guys.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Isiah, for the interview. Cannot wait to see more of your matches for sure. With that, we're going to go ahead and throw it back to the casters.
Thank you, Wancho. Always great to hear from Isiah Bradner, one of the best, most consistent players we have in this game. And with a deck like Giratina, sky's the limit. Anything's possible. It's been in the finals of the past 2 regionals here in North America. Is it just a matter of time before it sees the finals yet again?
I certainly expect to see it once more. It's one of those decks that it has the ability to do anything, which, I mean, he's been talking about that 9 day. It's silly to say, but like, you're in every game. There's no matchup where you're just absolutely terrified. You have the potential to do all this, which is something I preached to him for over a week before NAIC, and he didn't care. And then he comes up to me at Worlds. It's like, I'm playing the deck. I'm like, yeah, finally you figured it out. It's actually just awesome, and it's so fun to play too. But it's also great that it's found a meta that makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the meta going forward with the regionals that we have left in the season. We're here this weekend in Charlotte, but Knoxville coming up just a couple weeks away. And we have Liverpool next week in the EU. Vancouver, then finishing things off with London at UIC. Rotation, new format. How do you feel about that?
Oh, good riddance to Mew. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of everyone talking about darkness Pokemon and worrying about if this will stick around. It's been long enough. 3 years is plenty of time, and I'm excited to see a smaller card pool. I feel like that leads to some really interesting decisions as far as that early stages of the deck building. A lot of players have to go back to the lab and try to figure it out all once more. And I feel like that very first tournament after rotation is just so interesting to watch.
Yeah, honestly, when I think of rotations and new formats, the EU region has a lot of great deck builders, and that we could see some very seriously cool things pop off.
Yeah, I think one thing we've learned the most from that situation is if you just get a lot of great players in a room and give them a few weeks, they will find an amazing result. And that's something that's been adapted over time. And obviously, post-COVID, a lot of players have started to develop that too. And it's led to a lot of great iterations. It's what led to the Mew DTE strategy, which we called the London build, as that was one of the first opportunities to play that style of deck. And it just continues to happen. So I'm excited to see what that will be for 2024.
And be sure to follow the channel here on Twitch and YouTube so you can stay up to date with all of the tournaments that are going to be shown and going on. You know, we want to keep providing you with some great Pokemon content, and use the hashtag #PlayPokemon. We could hear from you, maybe feature some of your social media posts on the stream as well. We're still waiting for Frank Powell.
Yeah, I feel like it's about time. We'll see if that happens. Maybe we got some of you hungry talking about cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
in the last match.
I'm still waiting on my cinnamon roll. So
I don't know if we get one. I don't think that's a perk of the job.
Yeah. For that, I believe we're gonna do a quick game of Attack or Not, maybe.
Yeah. Or we can take a break.
All right. Well, I think we're going to take a break, though.
Okay.
We don't want to be embarrassed.
We'll be back very shortly, and we'll see if we have round 15 ready for you. If not, maybe we'll play some games. Stay tuned.
Norwegian Pokemon trainer Tord Reklev has amassed over $120,000 from tournaments, earning a reputation as potentially the best. But his journey started humbly in Oslo. Playing Pokemon on Game Boy and learning the trading card game from his mother, Tord's skill began to blossom, winning 3 Norwegian national championships and a top 32 finish at the 2012 World Championship. Global recognition was limited until the 2017 season with the introduction of the International Championships. EUIC 2017 was the first chance for him to show the whole Pokemon world how great of a TCG player he was, finishing top 4. While he didn't win the tournament, Tord's performance earned him recognition around the globe. Riding this wave, Tord triumphed at the inaugural North American International Championships, the largest Pokemon TCG event at that time, clinching the title and drawing global attention. He continued his streak with another win at the European International Championships in 2018, setting the meta for one of the strongest decks for months. Then, at the Oceania International Championships, he became a 3-time international champion, sparking debates about his status as the greatest player of all time. At the 2019 World Championships, Tord reached the top cut, but lost to former world champion Shintaro Ito, fueling his drive to do better. In the 2023 Latin America International Championships, Tord piloted the newly released Lugia V-Star. After a back-and-forth 3-game set, Tord finally did what no one had ever done before. He won all 4 international championships. Yet the World Championship title has eluded him. In 2023, Tord's Gardevoir EX deck took him all the way to the finals, but Vance Kelly's Mew VMAX deck outplayed him in the closing game, denying him the title, despite his remarkable consistency and a record that outshines any active player. The debate of who is the greatest TCG player ever to play continues alongside Tord's quest for a world champion title.
Hui, he leo kono keia, ia oko e hele mai I Hawaii, I Honolulu, I ka makahiki, I Wakalua kumaha. We want to invite you to Honolulu, Hawaii in 2024. We look forward to seeing you here. Ahui ho aku no.
Welcome back to the beautiful city of Charlotte, North Carolina. Here, the home of the Pokemon Regional Championships. And it has been such a great tournament so far. The biggest regional championships we've had in a while, the biggest day 2 we've had. And it is just getting started. We're almost to our top 8. I'm Jeremy Jallin here with Cal Sablehouse. And welcome to the Jowl House. And I'm trying something different,
There we go. Lock them in. Lock them in. It is time for our final round. We have 2 great competitors ready to roll, and they will be trying to attempt to get to, 37 match points it would be? We got some news. I mean, we took a look at the pairings and some of the intentional draws that have already happened. We have 4 players potentially already locked in, at least 2 guaranteed. But if there are no natural ties within the first 5 or 6 tables, whatever it may be, 2 36-point players might bubble.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Crazy. Like, just to put in perspective, if you win 12 games,
you might not
make it into the top 8.
Yep.
Like, just impossible to think about.
Yep, obviously. Don't need to worry about that for Alex Szymanski and Isiah Bradner. That intentional draw locks both of those players into the top cut. Looks like Ross, along with another player, Giratina V-Star player, also taking that intentional draw. Must be pretty confident in their status with the 36 points, and maybe some early victories, but we'll see how it all plays out, as we certainly do have our winning in ready to roll soon.
Yep, round 15. We are ready for this winning in. Let's go ahead and take it down to the stage, meet our players. Julio Santos de Leon on the left. Roaring Moon EX. This has been a deck that has been at the top of the tables for throughout this Day 2 event, up against Caleb Rogerson with that Charizard EX, Pidgeot EX. Is it still good enough to stay in contention for one of the best decks in the format?
Yeah, it is certainly something we've been asking ourselves time and time again, as obviously the percentages of the Charizard have been so impressive in Day 1s, but not so much in the Day 2s. Over on the other side for Julio, looking for that back-to-back top 8 in Charlotte, as they've done this before just last year, and going to be doing that with the Roaring Moon EX. We've seen this player's had on a great run with his list, and also on the other side, Caleb with the Senior International Championship back in 2022 of EUIC. Just been building on that performance, seeing a lot of great performances in Day 2, now as a master.
And doing it with a deck that has been proven to be pretty good and also sits atop the metagame share, at least in Day 1. Day 2 kind of gets squeaked by Giratina a little bit.
Let's take our first look at the prize cards, as we see a little hint there with some water energies included.
Yeah, Rotom V though, and the prizes for Caleb. That's one of the big Pokemon that you try to just start with turn 1 to get that instant charge going. Grab a little extra cards for your hand.
Often that can be an issue on these early turns. Also just another great Pokemon for that for Sealstone. This is a list featuring only 6 of those fire energies as well, so gotta take note of that as well.
Yeah, very reminiscent of the list that Azul was playing back in Portland. And Caleb's gonna start things off, going first. Not really where you want to be with this Charizard EX deck, but has that Battle VIP pass.
I would write in all capitals, Rotom! Where did you go, buddy? That is certainly a card that you look for initially on the Battle VIP pass search, and it's a little unfortunate to find out, but this is always something I love to watch with the younger players who have recently aged up. This is something they've been practicing time and time again, that opening deck search, and he's just fanning through cards, downloading so much information as he goes.
Listen, the younger you are, the faster your brain processes things. Exactly, yeah. we're old. Double Charmander seems to be the grab here for Battle VIP Pass. Well, at least one of them. Maybe that Mew is going to join the bench here. Mew is such a powerful basic Pokemon in this Charizard EX deck, able to find those item cards you need, like Battle VIP Pass, Ultra Ball, and Rare Candy, just to name a few.
We see that Artizone in the hand as well. That's going to be a nice option to find additional Pokemon. I believe we see a Pidgey in the opening hand too, so a lot of access. Maybe you can work in that Manaphy early on, identifying that Julio is a player that has those water energies, and that can be a dangerous surprise occasionally.
Yeah, we still haven't seen something as impactful as the Moonlight Shuriken for a couple of prizes, but now with that Manaphy in play, you kind of just have to get rid of that idea in your mind and just go full Roaring Moon here.
Well, I've been following Julio a little bit, as Julio played against my brother in one of the earlier rounds when it was basically you need to win every single round from this point forward in order to play. Looks like Julio has been able to do that, so on an absolute run here in the Day 2, and looks like this start is just going to be even hotter as you have the opening Ultra Ball double Darkness discard, Squawkabilly ready to roll.
Again now, Julio just searching the deck, seeing what he has available to him and what's prized. Having access to that Squawkabilly EX is so important for a deck like this Roaring Moon.
These are some great arts.
Oh, yeah. Going with all the full art cards. There's the alternate art, Lumineon V. And this is a card that we haven't seen too much lately, with its luminous sign, being able to search your deck for a supporter, put it in your hand. Was very popular during the Lugia era, even 2 copies in most of the decks. Now it's kind of seen as a liability a little bit.
Yep, and obviously you have plenty of those liabilities, as we've seen Squawkabilly, the Mew. At that point, who cares? Just have all the liabilities. Your opponent's still going to be likely taking those knockouts left and right. Double Roaring Moon ready to roll. And we can get one additional card too. This is quite the start here.
Professor Sada's Vitality gets the full 2 energy and draws 3 cards for Julio.
Double cross switcher?
What is going on here? This is a card we haven't really seen too much of lately yet again, but very good in
Oh
this
my,
deck.
there's an
and
energy switch
wow.
too! This
Double
is
cross switcher
ridiculous!
Pidgey.
He's got the double cross switcher, and then he gets to throw away the hand with Squawkabilly.
Can you write it up any better than this for Roaring Moon?
Not my script.
6 brand new cards. There's even the canceling Cologne in the list to actually pull off some shenanigans with Moonlight Shuriken.
Wow, what an opening start. Can only imagine what the Pokestop looks like. Sure, throw
Yeah,
away
I'll
a
take
Dark
that.
Energy.
Yeah, sure. Galarian Moltres V to go along with it. Dire Flame Wings grab an energy. 4 energy in play on turn 1 for Julio here.
Unbelievable opening start to remove the Pidgey from play. Caleb tried to play it safe and play the Manaphy, think about some other resources. You don't think about double cross switcher taking out your Pidgey there on that opening turn.
Yeah, and you're fine taking that knockout on the Pidgey. Roaring Moon has 230 HP, so just out of range of Burning Darkness with Charizard EX. Caleb does have that Rare Candy Charizard EX. Will be able to charge up itself as well as that Mew, so you can retreat. And I think there's a boss's orders in hand, so Caleb might just bring up that Mew EX, take the knockout, and try to prize race.
Yeah, I think I know which side of the field I'd rather be on with the prize race, though. It's the shiny side.
Yeah,
There's a lot going on here, and this hand is still absolutely juiced.
Well, Mysterious Tail's going to hope to find a couple more
hold up.
cards here. Rare Candy.
Those are pretty good.
Ultra Ball. There's Luminion in hand as well for Caleb. But I think if you play that, that's probably worst case scenario. It just opens up an easy knockout with boss's orders where you don't have to Frenzy Gouging.
You have to think that Caleb will run out of gas at some point. So you take the Ultra Ball. Maybe that's an option that opens up some other avenues soon enough. But discarding cards doesn't seem great when your hand's so low.
Yeah, especially when you don't have access to that Pidgeot EX with its quick search. Your deck is very limited on the options that you have available to you. Caleb was thinking there maybe about going back in, but I think we're just going to hold on to that Ultra Ball for the following turn. There's the retreat. Boss's orders that Mew. Caleb's going to be able to respond with a knockout here, but it is
Wow.
looking scary.
Yeah, think about the game that we just witnessed and how slow the prize cards fell off the board. We are rushing to a finish very early on, and we are not even 7 minutes into the game at this point. Cards flying left and right in the Earthen Vessel. Once more, looking for some additional energies.
Just one left in the deck here, it seems like. Energy switch in hand. Ultra Ball.
There's another Sada's ready to go, too.
Oh, wow. Well, there is the Ultra Ball, discards the Water Energy and that second copy of Energy Switch. And that puts the second energy in the discard for this Professor Sada's Vitality. And finally, Radiant Greninja is found.
Yeah, this is Julio thinking about some longevity in this situation. You just lost Restart, which is typically a way to continue to refresh that hand up. In this situation, you have energy right now as a way to maybe add some additional cards into the hand, so why not work that in, along with the Sada's Vitality, which will draw some additional cards here too.
Also important to note, the Charmander on Caleb's bench is not the attacking one here. Usually you find these Charizard EX players taking a knockout on a Roaring Moon EX that used Frenzied Gouging the following turn with just a simple attack of 30. But right now it doesn't have that available to him. Their energy on the Greninja,
Yeah.
the water energy on the active.
A little surprising to see the energy to the Radiant Greninja as opposed to the Roaring Moon on the bench. It could just be a dark energy away from knockout on a return Charizard EX, which seems to be the worst case scenario from the other side.
Caleb promotes the Charmander here. Has Ultra Ball, Rare Candy, can go ahead and get another Charizard available. Just thinking about this Luminion V. We'll go ahead and use it. Use that Luminous sign. Maybe we're going to see an Iono here.
That's certainly where I'd lean at this point, and you just have to assume that your opponent has an opportunity to accelerate onto that Roaring Moon. Not seeing the energy on that Pokemon It's a little bit of an avenue to potentially see some light and maybe stick the Charizard in the active for more than one turn. But this is looking like a tough debate.
Arvin seems to be the supporter of choice. No?
I mean, Arvin leads into Charmander, which leads into another opportunity to maybe have a third Charizard. But you can also just use the Radiant Charizard that you have in your hand there. I feel like you get a lot of resources there, but it looks like the Super Rod is really important in this spot, as we see only 2 fire energies in the deck, which would mean there's no additional energy for the Radiant to close out.
This is the problem of only playing 6 fire energy in the list. You're very tight on the resources you have available, and especially if you prize any. That's really just the big detriment.
Yeah, it's a big danger. We see the 3 energies there with the 1 in the prize cards. It's going to lead to having to play these cards slightly out of order, but it ends up being okay. There is the Forest Seal Stone still, which could lead to finding Iono or Boss's Orders, whatever it may be, to help potentially find 2 remaining prize cards. And this is still fairly dangerous.
Well, there is that Super Rod, a couple energies, 3 energies total. Rare Candy, Charizard EX, Infernal Rain, charge up yet again. But are you going to have to retreat here or just charge up that Radiant Charizard? 3 prizes for Julio. You still have a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah, this is a great spot. Imagine telling Caleb, hey, you're going to lose your Pidgey on the opening turn. And sure enough, here you are. You've managed to make 2 Charizard EX and a Radiant Charizard, all under the most pressure we've seen a player under the entirety of the tournament.
Now all it's going to take is energy switch, Boss's Orders, cross switcher. Julio definitely has the resources available to pull off at least a knockout this turn. Finds Iono off the top. But now he's running the risk of actually just losing the following turn to this Charizard EX.
Yeah, the situation now calls for finding a way to remove the Forest Seal Stone, cross switcher, bring up Manaphy and knock it out with Radiant Greninja, get to the 2/2 prize cards, and then try to close out the following turn. Hopefully your opponent doesn't have the Boss's Orders.
Earth Invest is going to take a look through the deck, but there's no energy left for Julio here. He's 1 in hand, and this is the awkward part about playing cross switchers with a card like Iono. 1 in hand, Iono trying to dig for more. You're going to put that second one on the bottom and never see it again.
Yeah, playing to outs that are very difficult to find at this point. Don't believe there's even a way to remove that Forest Seal Stone on the other side from Caleb.
Yeah, not playing a card like Lost Vacuum. Canceling Clone, Iono. Julio's going to find 3, Caleb's going to find 2.
Oh.
Double Battle VIP pass Earthen Vessel. That's not going to do anything here, and there's not even an attack for Julio. And
yep, who's ready for another game?
yeah.
Oh, you can see.
All right, well, such a crazy start from Julio there, but this is the power of Charizard EX and Caleb Robinson taking game 1 here in pretty exciting fashion.
Yeah, that was certainly fireworks from the very get-go. Both these players showing us exactly why these decks are in contention to make the top 8 here. I can't help but wonder. It didn't seem like Caleb was going to find a way, but both players really focused on that Lumineon V, which is a card we don't get to talk about so often. It led to an early turn 1 knockout here for Julio, knocking out that Pidgey with the ridiculous double cross switcher, which this turns into a Charizard knockout just to stay in the prize race. It seems so bad from here, such a low hand size, but Caleb was able to continue to mount some resources. After this knockout, you just hope that enough is there, and sure enough, the hand has Ultra Ball, Rare Candy, Lumineon with a Forest Seal Stone, and you get to lock in that final energy on the Radiant Charizard to equate to a checkmate. And Julio just finds the worst possible hand off Iono, has to give up for the game.
Yeah, this is just unfortunately how things went for our Roaring Moon player here, but hoping for better, which honestly, can't get much better with
Yeah.
those early first few
I mean,
turns. I
yeah.
hope Caleb doesn't draw into those boss's orders.
Turn 1 does not get any better. I guess turn 2 and 3, but
Oh,
yeah, we'll
wow.
see. Double Arvin.
Double Arvin, double fire energy, and a 1-0-1 Pidgeot line. Caleb could be strapped for resources here in this game too. Double Dark Patch.
You
That
can work
canceling
with that.
cologne.
I think Caleb's going to be a lot more sad. Oh, I'd be sad
Definitely
too.
a lot more sad.
Yep. That's not great.
Julio starts with the Roaring Moon in the active spot. Galarian Moltres V with the Forest Sealstone on the bench. So already going to have a pretty good turn 1 to pair along with that Battle VIP pass. Eyeing down Radiant Greninja. And potentially something like that Squawk ability EX to get that Squawk and Seize going.
Yep. Potential for fireworks once more. That Forest Sealstone on the Moltres. But going first is just doesn't always lead to that. We see the Sadas in hand. Looks like that will be discarded along the way. It only takes an Earthen Vessel typically to start see these cards turn into a lot of energies on the board.
Usually it takes a village.
Yeah. Instead, you just need a vessel.
Looks like they're having some discussion with the judge here.
Okay. Okay.
I think it might be a warning for what looks like insufficient shuffling.
Okay.
Maybe. I didn't get to take a look, but we've also seen occasionally players will shuffle, then re-look at the deck, and then shuffle again. Didn't know if it was a case of that or. I mean, we've seen all sorts of things, but thankfully this is not anywhere close to prize penalties
Yeah.
situations.
Now, if those warnings keep stacking up, that's when it gets a little bit worrisome.
Oh,
Concealed cards finds Professor Sada and a Dark Energy, but now with 2 in hand, is it worth it to Squawk and Seize here?
yep. This is a list with the POW pad.
Has the Cross Switcher in hand as well.
Yeah, I mean, huge resources to lose there. Turns off one of your cross switchers completely at this point. Opportunities to draw into Asadas for the following turn diminished drastically, but you want to take that risk at this point. The opportunity to draw 6 additional cards, you take it.
And the 6 cards Julio drew are pretty beneficial. A couple energies. Ultra Ball found that Earthen Vessel from the Trekking Shoes and has Mew EX in hand, so you can basically thin out the hand as much as possible if you want. And maybe restart here, but we'll have to see what he decides to do here. Already 2 energy on the active Roaring Moon. It's going to threaten an attack for a knockout next turn.
Yep, and you have to think how difficult it will be for Caleb to move this Pokemon in the active spot. 2 fire energies already in the prize cards. That means you have 4 energies total to work with. You'll likely have to have the energy in hand, as we saw that retreating was not an option in the opening game.
And speaking of options, Caleb has the Arvin to start things off. Going second, has 2 in the prize cards, but just naturally has it.
You know, it's like Luminion did its job,
Yeah.
except it's absolutely not pulling its weight this time around.
Yeah, Luminion having that powerful ability in Luminous Sign, only available when you play it from your hand to your bench. So it's one of the worst starters you can have in this deck. And one thing I do love to see players do is just take notes. Anytime you can ease your brain a little bit for the future, you always want to save that brain power.
Yep, gives you an opportunity to use some of that extra time that clearly both these players will have in a matchup like this. Prize cards fly left and right. You've got opportunity. You just want to make sure that you know exactly what those prize cards are so that when you are drawing into them, you can play 2 outs like that, where Caleb is drawing 2 additional prize cards and doesn't have the answers to maybe have a Rare Candy Charizard, Radiant Zard, everything ready to go. He knows that those prize cards are there waiting for him. Maybe you draw into an Arvin, which you can count on later.
I think we're going to see a pretty full bench from Caleb here. Eyeing down Charmander, Rotom has that 4 Sealstone in hand to fetch another Battle VIP pass to grab Manaphy, Pidgey. Now eyeing down that Mew. And it does look like Manaphy and Mew is going to be the cards of choice for Caleb here. For Sealstone, Star Alchemy. Again, such a powerful tool card in the format. Being able to search your deck for any card turns any of your Pokemon V into a half Arceus.
Okay, yeah, I was worried now if there was a decision that had to be made, but Artisan is thankfully a bailout button to at least get the Pidgey into play. You see one cross switcher already down, so it's less likely that this Pokemon will be targeted once more, because that leads to so many easier decisions when you can pull any card out of your deck.
And one big thing, too, if Julio does take the knockout on this active Lumineon V, that's going to turn on Burning Darkness to take one-hit knockouts on any Pokemon Julio promotes.
Yep, it's you're asking for a war at that point. If you take that knockout, you have to be prepared to have follow-up. You need additional energies on board. Every energy switch needs to be lining up to either an energy onto a Radiant Greninja or to a Roaring Moon at that point. And we'll see if the answers are there. Lumineon can help out to find Asada's, one of the 2 remaining in the deck at this point.
I thought I already saw the Professor Sada's Vitality in hand for Julio, but it must have been something else like that boss's orders. Maybe Iono. But finding this powerful supporter for the ancient trait Pokemon, going to be able to charge up this Roaring Moon EX in the active as well as that one on the bench. Then you can save your energy attachment for the one on the bench. Does look like it was the boss's orders in hand. Not only does Professor Sada's Excel energy to your ancient Pokemon, you get to draw 3 cards too.
Sign me up. That works out so well here. Julio trying to build up a hand at this point. Find some resources to maybe have a game plan after this knockout.
This Ultra Ball is going to allow Dire Flame Wings from Galarian Moltres to go ahead and grab a Dark Energy. One thing that Julio's been missing is something like those Earthen Vessels
There
to
we
chain
go.
together. And Palpad putting back those Sadas.
Yep, thankful to find that card. This is the exact turn where you'd like to find it. You already were able to draw some additional resources. Now you shuffle back in the Sadas. Have an opportunity to accelerate some additional energies later on. Do you think he's ready, Jeremy? Sure, you can take the knockout, but are you comfortable with this current hand and the board state?
No.
Well, we'll see how Julio feels, because it's time. Knockout.
Calamity Storm taking the knockout, discarding the Artizone from Caleb. And having that Mew on the bench is just such a great promotion. Already has Ultra Ball Rare Candy in hand. We're going to see the Ultra Ball thin the deck out of a card here. But again, it also depends what you hit with the Mew. If you go for the Pidgeot or if you just go for the Charizard.
I was like, you know, it'd be good here, maybe Lumineon. Oh, yeah, that guy.
Oh, that's in the discard, Kyle.
Yeah, that's how that works, Jeremy.
Does look like it was about to be Charizard, but Pidgeot EX pulled to the front. And this is going to be a little bit risky. Does have access to Iono to be able to draw some more cards, but is going to rely on this Mysterious Tail to find either Ultra Ball or a Rare Candy just so you can fetch the other one with Quick Search.
Exactly. And the sequencing is great here. You can Rare Candy into this Pokemon. You may ask, why would you do that first? It's because you wanted to play the Ultra Ball and make sure that you pull that Pidgeot out of the deck first before you line up those resources. It's like all of these resources stink.
Except for that Charizard EX. That's what you need.
Oh, we found Charizard. Cool.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the rest of
it
it.
was
I saw the
sandwiched
VIPs.
in between the Battle VIP
okay.
passes.
That helps. Now if you can find the Rare Candy, that'd be ideal. And sure enough, there's 2.
This means Caleb still has access to Quick Search to be able to search the deck for any card. And
we also see the Fire Energy to retreat.
all right. And remember, this is the game where Caleb prized 2 Fire Energies. Going to be searching for the rest of them in the deck.
Yep. And at this point, potentially you find an additional resource to find the next Charizard. You can start to build that along in your hand. As you know that it's pretty unlikely that Julio is going to incorporate hand disruption. Looks like focus on the Radiant Charizard here. You want to get the energy played onto this Pokemon after you accelerate and Rare Candy into this Charizard.
Caleb choosing the right Charmander, Rare Candy into, leaving that one.
Ooh, wants to attack with the Radiant Zard to start things off. Okay.
I mean, with the way things are, there is 2 Pokemon EX in play for Caleb, so just 2 Frenzied Gougings in a row to be able to seal this game up for Julio. So pretty heads-up play, trying to disrupt the prize map.
Yeah, it
Caleb's opponent.
looks like the answers won't be there for Julio to find a boss's orders knockout on an EX Pokemon this time around, especially with the lack of energies currently. This hand is not great.
Second Pokestop found off the top. Has that Dire Flame Wings, 2 energy on the Galarian Moltres V now. Cross Switcher in hand, switch cart. This is going to have to be a pretty good Pokestop. Finding maybe Dark Patch, Cross Switcher, Dark Patch.
It needs like 6 lures on it. This has to be the greatest Pokestop we've ever seen.
How about a Battle VIP Pass, Dark Energy Sada? How's that rank on your Pokestops? Near the bottom?
Low. 2 out of 10.
Does have access to that 4 Sealstone, though, so we'll be able to search for a Sada, it seems like. Still have that Cross Switcher available to you. Julio just thinking through the plays and the resources.
Energy acceleration's beneficial.
Another thing that's missing is a second Roaring Moon, too.
Yeah,
Julio.
Cross switchers
Yep.
are at the top of Julio's mind here.
And now needs another energy to even attack. Ultra Ball, Sada, Cross Switcher.
There's no energy.
No
Is there
energy.
energy switch? Anything to...
I think Julio's going to be forced to Ultra Ball this hand down for Mew and try to restart into an energy to attack with, or something like a Dark Patch maybe.
That's the lines I'm seeing.
Has the switch cart, can go ahead and bring up Galarian Moltres V. Discards Battle VIP Pass. It has to be the Pokestop here. No. Discards the switch cart. Unless I'm missing something.
I'm following the lines right there with you. And
Just keeping the Pokestop in hand. That's one less card that you're going to be able to draw off restart.
makes this a little more difficult.
Especially because you're already switching with the Cross Switcher. Switch cart, bringing that Roaring Moon to the bench opens up a lot more plays.
And even in the perfect situation, you're able to knock out the Charizard on the bench with the cross switchers. What's your follow-up to another Radiant Charizard just knockout? And it doesn't seem great, but the hand is starting to...
Oh, there is
a
an
little
energy
lower.
switch.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I was confused for a second, but all the gold just runs together.
Pokestop now, and the additional card found off of the Mew. Yes, you take the damage. That's completely fine in this spot. You've taken the prize cards to at least stay in the game. The problem now is you're likely attacking active Pokemon from this point on. We've seen 3 cross switchers gone. Boss's orders would have to be in the mix, and we don't see any energy except for the one on the Galarian Moltres now.
It's looking like even though Caleb is down in prize cards, the route to victory is easy. Lost Vacuum gets rid of the Pokestop here, has the knockout with that Radiant Charizard.
Is that Iono
in the
in
active
hand?
spot. Yeah, Iono in hand, going to put Julio down to 2 cards here, and this is not where you want to be when you're a Roaring Moon.
Nope.
Choice Belt, Professor's Research found among Jirachi and Switch. Nothing too bad here. I guess losing the Pidgeot means Caleb is going to be down in energies, but I think found one off the prize cards.
And that was the big question at that point. If you can find that 5th energy attached to that Charizard EX on the bench. If anything were to happen to the Radiant Charizard, of course, this Pokemon can't attack next turn if it's stuck in the active spot. So it looks like there is still an additional turn remaining for Julio.
It would be great if Julio has an energy for turn and Iono. Try to force Caleb to have it and just attack with that Galarian Moltres.
The Iono.
The Iono.
Oh, there's double energy
cross switcher or
there's
energy switch.
Double energy switch, but it's to Luminion at this point. Looking for the water energy.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
You could use Aqua Return, take the knockout, run away, promote a single.
Earthen Vessel.
Oh, this is actually lining up.
Is Iono in hand for Julio?
I haven't seen it yet. I want to see the water juice first. Okay, now I can get excited. There's some plays here. Aqua Return. Free retreat on the Mew. Promotion of the Radiant Greninja. If there was hand disruption to go with this, he gets a high five.
Iono!
No way!
The one of supporter in Julio's deck, and he has it at the perfect time to try and tie up this match here in the winning in for top 8.
Jeremy, don't ask me how he closes out the game, but that was awesome.
Yeah, you love to see cool plays like this. Aqua Return brings up Radiant Greninja. Caleb needs an energy just to attack, and energy and boss's orders to take the game this turn.
3 fire energies to the discard pile. Not satisfied with the hand. It's the Mew promotion to potentially find a beneficial item card.
Really debating about it too. 3 cards in hand now. Boss's orders, rare candy, and I think a blank card basically.
That Pokestop is in the lost zone. There's not an opportunity for Caleb to find additional resources.
Super Rod here is big.
Super Rod. I mean, you think about Super Rod finding Luminion. If there was an Ultra Ball, you could then find some additional resources.
Yeah, if only you can grab the Ultra Ball and Super Rod.
And like 3 other cards so that you don't have to discard your hand away with the Ultra Ball.
There's just 1 fire energy left in Caleb's deck. I think you have to grab this, but because you can grab the Ultra Ball, evolve into a Charizard, but you only search for 1 energy.
Yep.
You're missing the switch.
Caleb's like, can I go to 7 energies real quick? Would have made life so much easier.
Oh, and it was rough because if he had access to that 7th energy, that Ultra Ball paired with that boss's orders is game. Again, not only is it just top 8 on the line, the chance to win the tournament, the difference in prize money between top 8, top 16, crazy.
I mean, the top 16 not guaranteed at this
Yeah.
point either for these players. It likely could be a top 32 huge swing, and that is just a pass of the turn. Caleb holding on to the Super Rod in considerations to find more items with the Mew.
Okay, we see a Dark Patch energy. You have Dire Flame Wings. That's 3 energy on the Moltres. Can you get this Radiant Greninja out of the active spot? Pokestop, Sada. Can't
but
Sada. There's no Ancient.
Pokemon.
I think you
could play Pokestop, but then your opponent gets to use it and maybe find a game-winning resource.
concealed cards the energy away. 2 cards here for Julio. Earthen Vessel Pokestop.
Everything's telling you to use that Pokestop, but I understand why you don't want to.
Earthen Vessel is going to be able to search for some energies that are left. It looks like, yeah, dark energy and a water. Julio still has the attachment for turn available, still has a supporter available, but I don't know if there's a supporter in the deck that can actually keep digging. I don't know if there's ancient Pokemon left in the deck. This has to be a Pokestop angle.
You have to consider maybe the Pokestop into a card like the Switch cart here.
Big 3, no!
And that's not only is it difficult to see because you don't find the cards, but maybe you opened up the avenue for Caleb to find some game-winning cards.
I think you just have to go for it, right? Dark Patch attached to the Glaring Moltres and restart for 1. There's been, what, 1 switch card played this game
Are you
so
using
far?
your one time, Jeremy?
1 time.
Oh, Julio doesn't want to use it, though.
Just
gonna
pass
the turn. Dangerous.
Boss's
Fire
orders in
energy
hand.
found.
Is there... I think if Ultra Ball is found off this Mysterious Tail, Caleb can win the game right here. Gonna Pokestop first. Ultra Balls.
2 Ultra Balls.
But discards the Charizard. Has the Super Rod, though, so you can Super Rod a couple energies and that Charizard EX back. And I think with that, Caleb should have this.
The resources are all lined up at this spot. Even without the boss's orders, you could bring back the Luminion, but it's in hand, ready to go.
No need to shuffle. We're going back in.
At this point, Caleb just wants to make sure he lines up all of it, but it seems to be there.
He sees the line. Charizard EX, Infernal Rain, raining down those fire energies. 1 on the active, 1 on that bench. Charizard retreat and sealing things up with a boss's orders just like that. Caleb Rogerson going into top 8 here in Charlotte.
Representing North Carolina, making the home team proud, moving into the top 8 here. But maybe giving hope to all those Charizard players that didn't convert in day 1. We have one in top 8 now.
Insane game. And I'm really interested to see what the top card was for Julio there. Still had access to that restart, but just attached and passed the turn. Hoping Caleb didn't have it, but everything came together to finish off that last knockout.
What an exciting set between these players. Absolute fireworks back and forth. An opportunity for a top 8 once more for Julio. Did not come to fruition this time around. But it certainly looked like it in this opening game, Jeremy.
Oh yeah, this opening game was something else. Caleb having a pretty great start, but Julio having even a better start. Taking a knockout. Just the thing was, the prize mapping was not there. Caleb able to go 2 prize knockout to seal up this first game. Julio not having access to a secondary attacker after the second Roaring Moon went down. And Caleb really cobbling it together without that Pidgeot, without multiple Charizard, and using that Radiant Charizard. My pick of the weekend, by the way, to help close things out.
Yeah, good for you, buddy. Nice call there. I mean, what a game we had. Just a back and forth. Julio finding some incredible lines to make this into a great set. Game 2, we saw a lot of energies flying around left and right once more. It was this early knockout on the Luminion that really started to see that glimmer in Caleb's eye as got very aggressive. Was able to incorporate the Radiant Charizard, but that was just about every energy that was in the deck at this point. A ridiculous turn here to see another Roaring Moon knockout onto the Pidgeot. And Caleb found this opportunity once more. Yeah, you can take a simple knockout and you've set up that Charizard. It looks like you have the resources to close out. But the Iono double energy switch Luminion shenanigans keeping things alive on Julio's side.
Even without a win, that is definitely a highlight for sure. And here's that game-winning Pokestop, finding the Ultra Ball needed to grab that Charizard EX with that Super Rod and Boss's orders to seal up that game and a top 8 berth here for the hometown hero.
Did you see the last second of the clip where Julio takes a look at the top card and then slaps himself in the head?
Oh, no,
yeah,
I did not see that.
We're going to have to talk to him later and see. But if that's switch card, then this is crazy.
I got confirmation it was switch card.
That's unreal. That's unreal.
I used my one time and it didn't even work.
Well, you did, but it did work. But yeah, oh, that's Pokemon. That's why we love this game so much. What an unbelievable set we had.
Who would have thought after so many Roaring Moon, we come down to that last turn. It's just crazy to think about and shows the power of Iono.
Yeah, and it's not always an inclusion in these decks, and sure enough, just one of them seems to be enough. We know Ross Cawthon had some interesting additions. We saw Judge in there too. We saw the one Iono, so obviously having a bailout button like that can be so impactful, and it looked like there was a great opportunity. Julio did